Now let's go into some very specific things that you can do, which is probably just three big things that we can work on together that I think this will increase your productivity by at least like 3 times, genuinely. If you're like a normal worker, if you're already really good, and you probably know some of these tips, but like for a normal person like I was a few years ago, you'll go at least 3 times higher in your productivity literally tomorrow if you follow these tips, right? So the first one is to make your calendar/timetable. Now, if you've watched a bunch of my videos, you may have noticed there's been times when I've mentioned to create your own timetable. What I meant by that is to open up like your notes app or on a piece of paper and to write down exactly what you would do at what time pretty much every single day. Now, I always did this in this like very like low key, disorganized way where I'd just like write it on my phone. So like, you know, for tomorrow I'd write like 7 a.m. wake up, 7:15 morning routine, 7:80, 7:85, 7:55, okay, you know, start working, whatever. Like, you get what I mean? So you time slot everything, right? That's how I first started. And then I can't believe it took me a few years to get to this point. But I realized the better way to do this is to set up your calendar and to slot everything in there. So I've just spent the last like maybe 2 hours setting this up, and I highly recommend you do this. Go onto Google and search for just calendar, Google Calendar. Go onto Google Calendar's website, create your account and everything. It's literally all for free. And what you can do is like, you can literally design like your day-to-day like schedule here. So what I would do, imagine you've got like a fresh calendar. I highly recommend you do this right now because this is literally so powerful. You go and set up this calendar for like your ideal like week, especially with the things that you know you've got to do. So if you've got work at this place, you've got this sports club that, you know, you like to train in the gym at 9 a.m. Okay, what you do is you'll open up like this brand fresh calendar and start to slot in a few things straight away just to give you some organization, and then you can put in your own individual things. And the first thing that you should start with on this empty calendar is your wake up time and your bedtime. This should be the exact same every single day, even if it's a weekend. A lot of people mess up with this, and Andrew Huberman, the podcast, like the scientist guy, he said that this is a really good thing to set extremely consistently, where you wake up and you go to sleep at the same time. So here is a really good question to ask you, which you might not have asked yourself before. What is a time that you could wake up every single day for the rest of your life? And what is the time that you could go to bed every single day for the rest of your life? You see, I can wake up at 4 a.m. Genuinely, I've woke up at 4 a.m. and managed that for like a month, and it was pretty good productivity. And 5 a.m., yeah, sweet. But then when I ask myself this question, okay, every single day for the rest of my life, those are a little bit too extreme. I'd have to like start getting ready at bed at like 7 p.m. or something. It's just too early. What is like reasonable for me to go to sleep every single night for the rest of my life? Let's say 10 p.m. I could always be in bed at 10 p.m. Maybe there's a very occasional, like 5 times a year where I'll stay up past that because I went to like a party or something. But even then, it's like I don't even party anymore, right? So let's say 10 p.m. What's a time that I could always wake up? You know, probably 5 a.m., but that's a bit extreme. Probably 6 a.m. and, you know, that's like 8 hours exactly. I mean, I could always wake up at 7 a.m. That's lenient enough. So 10 to 7. And that just became my routine. 10 p.m. bedtime, wake up 7 a.m. And then if you're close to that point, so sometimes I'm really tired, I'll get into bed at 9 or half 9. Sometimes I'll just end up waking up at like 5:45 or 6:15, and that's also fine. But you ask yourself the question, what could you maintain every single day for the rest of your life? And you may be so tempted right now to skip this. And one thing that this isn't important, which I promise you, if you can just listen to me and trust me, I promise you this really is. And 2, you may think, oh, but like, I don't need to wake up at the same time every day, or I can't, wake up at the same time every day. I've got to change it for this one. I've got to change it for this one. I highly recommend you reconsider, and I highly recommend you try and find a way that it can be the same time every single day, including weekends. And if you genuinely can't do that because of this thing that's, it's later or it's earlier, maybe just consider whatever that thing is. Maybe reconsider it. So for me, it was kickboxing. So I wanted to actually have like the same nighttime routine, bedtime and everything, and wake up time for a long time. But I couldn't, because I went to a kickboxing club where the session was like 8 p.m. to 9:30, and I'd get home at like 10:15, and then, I need to like shower and stuff and end up literally being asleep at like 11 p.m. So that kind of messed up my schedule like 3 days a week, and it kind of like threw it off. Then I needed to wake up later those days, because if I still woke up at the same time those days, I was often sleep deprived. So it's like, it kind of messed up my schedule. I can tell you right now, I literally once, I just sat down and I just asked myself, like, okay, so far I've been like pretty much sacrificing my health, like, my sleep, to go to this club, but it like, it really does feel awesome to go train kickboxing. And then suddenly I just asked myself, but think of the long term. Long term, do I want to sacrifice like a routine, like a sleep routine, which is deathly important, to go to this specific club at that specific time? And I said, literally, I just thought, like, wait, long term, this doesn't actually make any sense. And suddenly that's like what actually pushed me to look for a different club at a different time. And I ended up finding the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club that I now train at, and I go with like at 11 a.m. in the morning, so that doesn't disturb my sleep at all. So it's just something, if there is something in your calendar, or in your schedule that you're thinking, oh no, but I've got to stay up for that thing, I've got to, or I've got to wake up for that thing, just think, is it worth it? Would it be worth it if you sacrifice like a good bedtime and wake up routine for 10 years? Just ask yourself that, right? And then at the same time, after you've done that and you've like kind of set out your calendar, do this now with your meals. First, ask yourself, how many meals should you have per day? Now, you want to have more than one. In general, for muscle building, 1 meal per day isn't good for building muscle. A lot of research shows it's not. I'm a huge fan of fasting as well, and I would actually really like 1 meal a day in terms of just like my health and focus and stuff. But in terms of like muscle building, it's really not that good. Essentially, once you're eating 2 protein meals per day, after that, like 2 to 3 to 4 to 6, 5, whatever, it's like there isn't that much of a big difference. So it's literally just like at least have 2 meals up to like 6. But I think that actually gets way too much, and you're just eating and you're constantly like breaking up your workspace and you're always digesting. I'd probably go like 2 to 3 meals a day. And so once you know how many you're going to eat per day, slot them in at the same time that you could genuinely think is really reasonable. So if you like to do intermittent fasting, that's awesome. But don't push it to such an extreme level that's actually like a horrible challenge and it's actually really uncomfortable. Like fast in the morning, that's really awesome. It's really good. But for example, my first meal is at 9 a.m. So I probably wake up at about 7. I do some work and stuff in the morning. My first meal is at 9 a.m. every single day. And then my second meal is at 1 p.m. And then my third meal is at 5 p.m. That's a those are very safe times, aren't they? You can hit them no problem. Like as someone who doesn't go to like a 9 to 5 job, I can hit them no problem. I fast a little bit in the morning. I have somewhat of like an early dinner, exactly 5 p.m. And usually that means that like when I'm doing work right now, I'm not bloated, but I just had like quite a lot of rice or something. So I'm still kind of bloated and like stuffy in my stomach. The reason why I'm putting these weird things to you, I hope you understand it, is you don't realize just how much these are really the real things that improve your productivity. Because everything else that you hear about, it sounds like that's more directly related to your productivity, like, the quick hacks that you can use and the apps that you can download. But the thing like setting up your calendar and knowing, like setting in stone exactly what time you're going to eat, that's huge for your productivity. Because now it's like all I have to do is follow along with my calendar each and every day. There's like blocks of like, okay, so it says 7 to 9 p.m. is like deep work, record videos. It's 8 p.m. right now, so I'm recording videos. It's like I didn't need to think of what to do an hour ago. It was already set in stone in my calendar. I just follow the calendar. I highly recommend you get onto like Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, whatever it is. Like I use Google Calendar now, but you can use like the Apple one or whatever one you want to use, and just slot in. Okay, first of all, you wake up in bedtime, same time every single day. Add it in. Do the settings yourself. I won't show you a guide or anything. You just like figure out how to use the apps. It's not that hard. And then also have your meals at the same time every single day, and try and have at least 2 meals a day. And I probably wouldn't have more than like 4 personally. It depends how like fitness and muscle orientated you are right now compared to how focused you are on like actual like brain power work. But if your focus is more on like your actual work compared to fitness, I'd probably only have 2 meals a day, maybe 3, right? Slot them in at a reasonable time that you could maintain every single day for the rest of your life, Of course, knowing that things can change literally within like a couple of months. If you've just done these two things with your calendar, you've literally just blocked out what time you sleep and what time you eat, you literally have such a good baseline to go forward with already, even though most of your calendar's just kind of blank. And now you can add in some extra things like, what's the best time for you to work out? By now you probably know this, right? So for me, it's consistently 9 a.m. So like 9:15. So I eat very quickly. I eat like a small meal at 9 a.m. Literally just pre-workout meal. So it's just through. And then at 9:50 I work out every single day. That works amazingly for me. So let's just slot it in. And so your calendar starts to build. And what you'd like is to have absolutely no gaps in your calendar. You still want breaks, but you want to add them in. So what you want is like a whole calendar, which is literally just entirely like filled with like colors and everything. And the idea is that you also add in some periods for like rest, or some periods for, you know, just extra time, because, you know, something will one day take you a little bit longer to do and stuff. But once you've got like a calendar that's completely blocked out, you know what to do at any given moment of the day. And now it's like taken away a huge level of resistance that you had to being productive and to get your work done, because now you genuinely know like what to do. You'll find that it's so much easier to go and get to work. And of course then add in like your work times as well. So I'll slot in, so, you know, I did it, okay, 7 to 9 p.m. is going to be a deep work block for me. So that's every single day, boom. Then I'll do a deep work block in the morning. So let's go 7:30 to 9 a.m. So boom, that's another deep work block. And I could probably add another one around there at like 11 to 12:30 or something. You get what I mean? So once you've added the work in, and maybe add some time to read, add some time to spend with your friends, add some time to like, you know, call. So I've got like a block of like 3 hours, which is just kind of like, yeah, do whatever you want. Read, call someone, go for a walk, lie around, watch some videos, whatever you want, like that. So that's the time that kind of gets taken away if a task in the morning overlaps it or anything. And you get now to the point where your calendar's completely blocked out. All you've got to do is just follow it as best as you can now, which is deeply powerful. This is going to save you so many of those little decisions that you had to make. Genuinely, if you make this calendar right now, you're probably saving yourself a solid 20 to 30 brain points per day. And you obviously you have to spend quite a lot of brain points to make the calendar today, but then you can set it up in a way that it just kind of like repeats itself. You plan out the week, you duplicate the weeks over and over. So it's like, okay, you've literally got this plan set now. It costs you a lot of brain points right now, but you're going to save quite a lot of them every single day to come with now, because you don't need to think about what time to eat, what time to work, what time to do any of this stuff, which is hugely, hugely powerful. Let's talk now specifically about your diet. Your diet plays a huge role in your productivity. It probably is literally the biggest role of your productivity. Honestly, I'm surprised more like guys on the internet don't actually talk about this. Your diet is quite literally the single most important factor to your productivity and being able to do the work. I tell you right now, if you have a bad meal, like a meal that's bad for you and your genetics and everything, before you're about to do your work, you simply will not get your work done. Your brain will just not work. You'll feel like very slow and tired, and you'll end up just like quitting the work. And you probably can relate to what I'm saying. You've had this at certain times. You've not been aware that it was the food that caused it, but you've had this at times when like you wanted to go and do work, and you just kind of like, you just feel for some reason you just can't. You're just weirdly like tired. And so what you can do is just consume. So you just kind of watch YouTube videos instead, and you feel somewhat productive, but you don't do that hard task that you needed to do. And I guarantee it's because literally just before you were about to work on it, you ate a meal. I can see that my performance in this video is not as good as I want it to be, because I had quite a big meal before this. Like it was about 2.5 hours ago, so I thought I'd be fine because, you know, I've had some time to digest. I even went on a run as well, but literally like I feel it quite thick like inside of me. So it was a big plate of chicken and rice, quite a bigger meal than I've had in the last couple of weeks. So maybe that's like an issue there. And I can feel it myself, like as I give you this advice of like, like digestion's huge, right? The diet's really huge. I'm literally speaking from experience like right now. The reason why your diet makes a huge difference on your productivity is because when you digest food, that is, I think, the single most energy consuming thing that you do, like your body does. is digesting food. When you think about the processes that literally go on inside of you to digest and break down food that you've ate, not only to break it down in your stomach acid to then process it into waste that you'll go poop out, but also to like, use all that energy and transfer it to your muscles and into your blood and all this stuff. It's like, it's a huge amount of processes going on in your body. Why would you want that to happen when you're trying to focus on work? Preferably, you don't want to be digesting food or like, eating food when you're trying to work. Best case scenario, if you really want the absolute 10 out of 10 scenarios, you wake up and you fast and you don't eat anything, you don't even drink anything apart from water, maybe a bit of like black coffee is fine, that's okay. And then you do your work. And I promise you, if you don't usually do this, if you usually wake up and you have a slow start to your day and you eat some breakfast and then you work after that, I promise you, if tomorrow you woke up and first thing you made black coffee, no sugar, no milk or anything, literally no sweetener as well, because sweeteners are cope, and you literally just made black coffee, maybe have some few sips, it doesn't taste that nice, but then you go and do some work before you've ate anything, you'll find that you've got like superhuman productivity if usually you're a guy who has breakfast like first thing in the morning. Because when you digest food, it is such a huge like mental and physical distraction away from your work. If I have a day where I've ate quite a lot of food and I've been more into like the bodybuilding thing and I've been having massive meals and everything, you certainly make more progress in the gym when you do that. But I find that those days I pretty much get no real work done and I'm just coping for most of the day. I'm like, barely following along to some video on YouTube pretending to be learning or something, but like not even engaged that much. One thing you can do is to think specifically about the meals or the foods that you have that do have quite a negative impact on your energy and your brain power. So there's probably a few certain things that you eat that you kind of know is pretty bad for you, but you still kind of eat them. So for me, like a big plate of chicken and rice, like I ordered it from a Chinese like restaurant, and it's literally, bro, it's one of my favorite all-time meals, like where I live. It's absolutely peng, but I'm literally being honest with you, it's like, I know it's not good for me, I know it makes me tired, I know it makes me bloated, and like the next day I wake up and I don't feel as good. You don't realize how much like food has an impact on you. Learn from my lesson here, learn from my mistake. When you know that a meal or some food isn't good for you, try and avoid it. Like, it's sometimes you still want to enjoy the food like I did today, but it's like, now that I've ate it and I'm just experiencing the consequences of it and I'm just tired and bloated, now I'm just thinking like, how was it even worth it? I should have just had my normal meals anyway. So think of the things that really impact your energy and your focus, and just, keep them in mind and try and think, okay, I probably shouldn't eat those anymore. Then think of some of the ingredients that you can eat which don't seem to impact like you at all. So I can give you some examples for myself, like, big meals just in general wipe me out. Meals really high in carbs wipe me out. I'm just tired, right? Oats especially are really like relentless. Like if I eat a bowl of oats, which have got like, peanut butter or something, I am super tired and sleepy. And when I wake up, if I do nap after eating oats, when I wake up afterwards, it almost feels like I'm slightly hungover. Like literally, like they impact me a lot. Protein powder is the same. I think protein powder like spikes my insulin, or it does something to me that makes me quite tired after I have a protein shake. What's interesting then for me is I know exactly what foods don't actually like harm my productivity and my health and everything. And it's meat, vegetables, nuts, and fruits. That's it. Those things I can literally eat, even like a big steak, I can literally eat it as I do my work and it doesn't make a difference to my productivity. But the moment I add in like unnatural foods, like, modern day processed shit like pasta, rice, bread, pizza, cereal, oats, the big fucking chicken and rice meals like I just had before, I'm out. I'm literally like tired. I just want to lie down a little bit. I don't want to do the work and stuff. And you can do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. But if we can set up our lives and our diets in a way that we do feel like doing the work, that's even better, because you bring better energy. You bring like, more of your mental state. So this has been quite a long process for me to try and find these things out, but I've been able to identify the kinds of meals that I should stay away from and the kind of ones that I should eat. So in the end, like my meals are very basic. I literally just have like meat and vegetables. That's it. Before my workout, I literally just have fruit. Like that's it. That's my pre-workout meal. I literally just have like 2 apples. It's just simple. I've got like a big pile of nuts here. I'll eat a couple, like a handful of them throughout the day as well. Like that's it. And I have 4 eggs every single day as well for like healthy cholesterol. My diet's literally so simple, which I know sounds like kind of boring and everything. But when it leads to your business becoming successful, it's like, that's the more fun thing in my opinion. Like, okay, I got to have like, you know, the fun of ordering like a takeout today, and it was delicious. It honestly was delicious. But it's like, this video is probably worse now because my energy's not here and I'm quite tired. It kind of like works because, you know, I'm talking about the thing that I did wrong, so it works, I guess. So it was a happy coincidence. But if I was going to record a video on anything else, or if I was going to do some kind of other work whilst I'm digesting this food, I probably would have just stopped and literally just lied down instead. So the extra like dopamine of like the fun food to eat, which is kind of bad for you, it's not worth it. It's really valuable for you to try and figure out. I can't give you the answer because we're all different with this, but just try and like be aware, and also, you know, as you go through the next few days, just see how you feel 10, 20, 30 minutes after you eat some food, and just see, did it make a difference? Are you still able to focus? Okay, sweet. Whatever you just ate seems to be pretty good for you. But there will be some things that, like a meal that you'll have, and half an hour later you'll just feel so tired, and it'll only like hit you another half an hour later where you'll be like, oh fuck, Hamza's video, like that thing I just ate is probably really bad for me, to be honest. Yeah, it makes sense. And if it's a meal you really like, you won't want to accept it, you won't want to sacrifice it, but it probably is worth the sacrifice because you can just switch it to another meal that still tastes really nice anyway, but that doesn't negatively impact you. The best productivity you'll ever have is literally when you just wake up, at least for me, like when I just wake up early, I make coffee, and I literally just do deep work, and I stay fasted. I'm going to change up my diet slightly so I can like go over to like 2, maybe 3. I'm on 3 meals right now, but I think I might even go to 2 because I really do like fasting in the morning way more. But then I also like to eat something before workout, especially like fruit and stuff really works for me. So the final section of this video then is simply just what you work on. So this is something I'm a big advocate for this, and I've said this in so many videos, I've mentioned it today. It's like what you work on is incredibly important in terms of like, you know, your productivity. And you're watching this video intentively right now because you probably have some areas of improvement when it comes to actually sitting down and doing your work. And there's a few things that I've learned over the last few years that I really want to help you with. First of all, you should definitely have the specific task like that you're going to do. So you should 100% know exactly why you're sitting down to work. If you're sitting down to just work, it's not good enough and you're not going to be productive. You should, before you even sit down on your computer chair, if you're working on like a laptop or something, before you even sit down, you should know, okay, exactly what you're doing right now is this. I'm going to sit down, script this video and record this video. That's the task. That's great. But most people just go into like work mode. They'll just sit down. Oh, it's another day at the office. It's Tuesday. Okay, yeah, let's just, you know, let's load up the computer. Okay, let's do this. And you don't actually have like a very clear, specific task. Now, in, you know, some kind of 9-to-5 workplace, like you often don't. But if you are trying to become like an entrepreneur, or if you're just trying to like study, you shouldn't be thinking to yourself, yeah, I'm just going to study. No. It's not, oh yeah, I'm going to study. You should know exactly, like literally specifically what task you're going to do before you sit down. One of my favorite all-time authors is called Brian Tracy. And he said once in a very old book of his that a minute of planning saves 10 minutes. So every minute that you spend planning and knowing what you're about to do will actually save you 10 minutes of the execution. That's why, you know, the calendar that we mentioned, like, you know, setting up your life on the calendar is so overpowered, because you spend like an hour or 2 hours today setting up the entire week and then, you know, duplicating it all over so that it impacts your next week on the calendar as well. But after that, it genuinely saves you like hours of productivity a day. Like you'll have like some of the best productivity of your life if you just follow, just like make a calendar, you know, block it all out. So you've got all the tasks, which takes like a couple of hours. You've got to go through literally every hour of the day, every half an hour of the day to try and figure out what things to put and everything. But after that, genuinely, you'll be at like your top tier productivity. Most people have no plan, right? So that it's work time. They'll sit down and they'll use like their brain power, their brain points, to now in their work time try to figure out what to do, when really you should be doing this the night before. So I lie down every single night and I have my Kindle ready to read, and I fall asleep to my Kindle. Like falling asleep to reading is the single fastest way to sleep. It's amazing, right? And just before I do that, as I'm lying down, I just go on my phone, I put the brightness all the way down, look through my calendar, and also just bullet point what I'm going to do tomorrow. Exact tasks I'm going to do tomorrow. So I literally exactly, for this exact time, yesterday, I said that I was going to script this video and record it. Which meant that when it got to 7 p.m, I didn't need to think. I simply knew what the plan was already. And since I set the plan yesterday, it's like all I have to do is just follow the plan. I don't need to like debate it. I don't need to use like, you know, more mental power to think of what to do and everything, because I've already got this idea that, okay, if you don't follow the plan, you're a pussy. So it's simple. Okay, no, follow the plan. The plan says to record this video. Okay, I'll record this video. Make sure it's specific, right? So you don't want it to be that tomorrow you've wrote like, yeah, record some videos, study for 4 hours. Take the few minutes extra to really write to yourself. Study pages 170 to 175. Do the third assignment on the page. Do this. Record this video. Reply to this specific email. The more specific you can be, the better. You should know exactly why you're sitting down. And then it's important that you actually realize the tasks that you're thinking about. We've got to make sure that they're not actually bullshit tasks, because if you actually want to become successful, right? So this is no longer just simply about doing the work or not. This is making sure that you actually like choose to do the work that's going to actually have a real impact on your life. You do not want to be one of these average people who spend so long making their YouTube banner and their channel profile picture. Like people who spend ages doing that shit, they're usually like never successful. The person who, you know, starts a new business and he spends like literally hours making his logo or something and choosing what font to use. You might think those things are important. I'm telling you right now, they can be once you're already successful. It's important to have a brand, but like when you're first starting off, you don't need to like focus on those things. You need to do the big, hard, important tasks that you're putting off. There's 2 questions you can just ask yourself. And you can critique every possible task that you think of, whether it's making a logo or recording the video or doing this or writing this. Every task that you think of, just put it through 2 of these questions. Is it important? And is it urgent? If it's important and urgent, then it's kind of like an emergency. You need to do it. That's your priority. That's what you do today, right now. If it's important and urgent, that means, okay, you've got to do it right now, and it's also valuable to do it right now. If it's just important, but it's not urgent, so it's like, for example, for me, it's like recording this video. It's important that I record a video. You know, you don't want your YouTube channel to die off or anything. Is it urgent? I mean, not really. Do I need to record this video right now? If I recorded this one tomorrow morning and still uploaded it for the same time, would it really affect me? Like, no, not really. So it's important, but it's not urgent. Okay, well, do it when you can, and, you know, make it your priority if you don't have any like emergency tasks, right? But this is where it gets interesting. What if a task isn't important? What if it's just urgent? What if it's someone messaging you, like, or someone's calling you right now on Discord? That's kind of urgent because, you know, you've got to answer within a few seconds, but it doesn't seem important. You literally just sat down to do some work, and some guy's calling you right now. Your friend's calling you right now, which is kind of urgent in the sense that, like, you know, it's time sensitive. The call is literally right there, but you kind of know it's not like an important emergency or anything. What do? Most people would literally accept it. They'd accept the call because it's urgent, because it's just, you know, it's the calls coming in right now. Let's see what my old video game friend wants to talk about. And then they end up not being productive. And then the most important, biggest waste of your time happens when you critique a task and you realize it's not urgent or important. It's neither. This is, for example, the extra like little design stuff of your YouTube channel trailer, your YouTube channel customization, your little channel banner, your logo, your profile picture. These are the things that beginner YouTubers who aren't that good spend their time on things that aren't important and aren't urgent. And then they don't ever build the success that they wanted. Because remember, you only have a certain number of brain points per day, and if you're spending it on bullshit tasks that aren't important and aren't even urgent, so there's no point doing them, apart from just like, yeah, it's kind of nice having an updated profile. But it's like, yeah, sure, like I just updated my profile picture, so it's like a picture of like my current setup and everything. Yeah, sure. But it's like, do that at like, 8 p.m. at the end of your work day, you're just kind of chilling, you're doing it for fun, that's fine. But the real thing to think about is go and figure out what tasks are urgent and important and make sure that you prioritize them. And then the tasks that are just important, prioritize them. Too often, too many people, and especially like younger me when I was, trying to become an entrepreneur a few years ago, you'll choose to do the easier, fun tasks instead of the bigger, harder ones, just because you don't really feel like doing the hard thing right now. But most people don't feel like doing that. And so you become like most people. But your secret advantage as an entrepreneur or a student or a guy who wants to get into like a top level business or a career, when there's about like a hard task that you really just can't be bothered to do, that's actually when it's really worth it for you to do it, because that's like the barrier that everyone else is hitting as well. So for your YouTube channel, it's like to upload another video when the last like 10 videos didn't get many views. That's like a barrier that a lot of people would have just quit at. And you probably just, you're not thinking about quitting, but you're probably just thinking like, oh yeah, I'll just do, I'll record another video tomorrow. I just need to read more or something. Everyone hits like the same barriers, like the same walls as you. And the amount of walls that you can knock down, it is going to determine your success. So often people will just kind of experience some kind of resistance to doing the work, and they'll let that just control them instead of actually using it as a sense of motivation, thinking, you know what? I bet all of my competitors are feeling this resistance right now, and all those lazy motherfuckers, they're all going to quit right now. They're all going to slow down. Fuck it, okay? I feel this resistance. It's painful. It's annoying. Let's do it anyway. That's how you become like competitive and successful in this new like hyper competitive world. I've wrote a few things here. Be okay with not doing a lot of tasks when you realize that they're not ROI positive. This is a universal trait of successful people. You want to know this secret? You won't be able to grasp the value of this just yet, I promise you, but you'll remember this like a year down the line. You'll be like, wow, that was so true. The successful people, genuinely, they became successful from not doing tasks. I know that sounds weird, but like most successful people got there because they didn't do all of the other bullshit that most people are doing. When you specifically need to start by not doing the bullshit, the useless tasks, the mental procrastination, the replying to every comment and stuff. You've got to not do the low like ROI tasks. That gives you the brain point reserve to go and do the important ones. Does that make sense? Because when you start off and at the same time as everyone else, and you're all, you're focused on just watching another YouTube video, like that's gonna help. You drain yourself. In the end, it literally all comes down to like that realization of like you literally just have a certain number of brain points. The most successful people just refuse to use their brain points for something that's not like the major tasks that's gonna get them to where they want to be. Don't drain your brain points on bullshit that feels productive, but it's really not. That includes my videos. That includes random YouTube videos that you like to watch, and YouTube shorts and podcasts and stuff that you'd barely even listen to. The audiobook that you kind of zone in and out of. Don't waste your brain points on that. Like literally, if you could wake up and the only productive thing you did was like record a decent video, and you did that once a week, twice a week for a year, you would become a successful YouTuber just from that. But then you fill your time up with all the extra bullshit and replying to comments and watching extra, all those shit YouTube videos of like, oh, how to increase average view duration and average watch time and click-through rate. You watch all of that stuff and you start to just like fill your brain with garbage. And now it's like you don't even have the mental capacity to do the most important thing, which is to just make the video and record it and upload it. And if you've got mental capacity after that, sure, go learn some more, sure, go like do some extra task, but reserve your brain power for those big needle moving activities that you should probably do at like your peak productivity hours, which might be like first thing in the morning. Just ask yourself, will this task make me successful? Will clearing my Discord notifications, because there's like 4 messages there, should I look through all of them because that makes me feel like productive? Like, is that going to make you successful? And don't bullshit and cope like, oh yeah, but networking, like just... Will clearing your notifications on your phone make you successful? No. Doing that hard work, doing like the major task, that's what's going to make you successful. That's what you should focus on. Make sure the work, like task that you actively do and you choose to do for tomorrow that you've put into your calendar, make sure it is really like the real task. And this is so like unsexy. Honestly, I expect most people have clicked off this video because I didn't just give you like a fast tip. But if you're still watching right now, you have a competitive advantage, because honestly, most people like, this sounds horrible, but I'm just going to be totally honest to you. Most people genuinely work like they've got mental disabilities. Most people genuinely work like they've got learning problems. Honestly, like most people genuinely work like they should be wearing a helmet everywhere. That's your competition. You can absolutely destroy 99% of your competition within 1 year. Literally, just do the right things, what you've heard in this video. I'm saying it so casually because it's fucking true, honestly. If you're whatever niche you want to get into, whether it's work, fitness, studying, whatever it is, bro, you can get into easily the top 5% within 1 year of hard work. 90% of people are actually brain dead. 5% of people are kind of working hard, that's like you, and the top 5% or the top 1% are absolute killers, and it's very hard to compete with them because they're already, like that top 1% has already got a 6-pack, he's already tall, he's already making good money, he's already based, you know what I mean? So it's like it gets hyper competitive in the top 1%. But to get into the top like 5% or 10%, bro, it's like it takes 1 year of just roughly trying to do the right things and making like 50 mistakes in the year, the mistakes we expected to make anyway. But to beat like 90% of people, bro, like they couldn't even make it to this part of the video. They needed to hear another Pomodoro technique, little productivity app type of shit that they needed. These, in my opinion, from my experiences, are the real things you need to focus on when it comes to your work rates. Your diet, your schedule, and actually what task you actually choose to do. If you want to be a YouTuber, there's like a link for you in the description where I teach you some things about YouTube, and I mention you to my YouTube course. Inside of that course, I actually have like a free like extra bonus thing, which is like a whole module on entrepreneurship, productivity, like productivity for new entrepreneurs. So you might be interested in that. It's just linked in the description. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah!